Watch the chats.
It's because they come up.
Yeah. We're now joined by the Baylor Bears. We have with us student athletes Ella Brow and Kirsten Johnson. Again, if you have a question, just raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Please give your name and media affiliation. So the floor is open. Questions? Hand across. You can hand across right here. Just hand down.
Ella, obviously these last two games you've played a lot more now with Markayla out. Do you feel any more responsibility to kind of continue to grow into your role?
Yeah, I think obviously Moo is such a big energy player for us coming off the bench defensively. So missing that, I think that I have to sort of step into her role and help the team in that way. So just being able to step in every game and be ready when my name is called to bring energy and intensity to the team is a key.
Front row, middle.
Kirsten, Doug Bunch over the AP. Obviously, you've played these guys before. Does that help, or is it so long ago that it kind of makes everything from that obsolete?
No, it helps, absolutely. They're still the same team. They've just gotten better, and we've gotten better. It's going to be fun being able to play on their own home court. Still going to have to do the same scout, look into some more recent games they've played. But, just doing the same things and keeping it about us.
More questions from the room? Mitch
Northam with USA Today. For Kirsten or Ella, is there anything, as you looked at, the Duke scout ahead of this game, that kind of really stands out as like, oh, they did do that in Paris, and oh, they're still doing this the same way?
Kirsten, can you go first, please?
Yeah, I think defensively, they're a very good defensive team. So their schemes, I know there was a lot of things like we changed, and having to look back at that, I think will be super important for us.
Yeah, and I think offensively they're a very set team. They run their stuff very, very well, coached by a great coach. So just knowing what our scheme is defensively and being able to stop them. So, yeah.
I see one in the back, yeah.
Yes. Kirsten, Nikki told us yesterday, she took you outside in the fourth quarter or before and said this could be the last 10 minutes of your career. How did that impact you, and how is that kind of impacting the whole team going into tomorrow?
Yeah, it means a lot. Us as seniors, it means a lot to us. This team really takes that, and they listen to us, and we want to listen to them. As a group of seniors that have played such a big role, like we really had to step up, and that's what we did in that fourth quarter because the game hadn't been pretty, but you have to forget the 30 minutes past and focus on the 10 in front of you, and I think that's something we did as a group.
Just a reminder, give your name and media affiliation, please. Thanks. Fourth row.
Derek Smith, Baylor Radio. Ella, I wanted to ask you, Janice had to play a lot of minutes this year. What does it mean to you to spell her and to give the team really good minutes running the point? The team was +2 with you out there yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Jen has played big minutes for us the whole season, and then Talia having to play that backup point guard when she's out. So being able to come in and make plays for our team is massive. And like I said, just staying ready at all times and being ready when my name is called, and then just being aggressive on defense and offensively is huge.
Front row right.
Zach Smith, Waco Trib, sorry. Kirsten, how has this team coalesced together after Markayla's injury?
We're still the same, now we just love on her even more, get to bother her even more. So, no, we love Moo. She's always a part of us. She brings us so much energy, and, it's gonna make us stronger. It's gonna make her stronger. So we're just gonna stay tight together as a team because we got here together.
Any other questions in the room? Seeing none in here or on Zoom, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Just a reminder, the Baylor locker room is open.
going to live in infamy.
We're now joined by the head coach of the Baylor Bears, Nikki Collin. We'll have an opening statement from Coach, followed by your questions. Just raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Please, again, give your name and media affiliation. Coach, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just happy to be here. Excited to get to play Duke. I know the crowd will be amazing, and I know people are going to talk a lot about it being a rematch, but ultimately, it's just two teams competing to get to the next round of the NCAA tournament. So we've got our work cut out for us. We know Duke is an elite team, and, we're just going to have to be gritty to have a chance to win the game.
Questions? Front row, right?
Zach Smith, Waco Trib. Coach, Markayla was a big emotional piece of this team. How does her absence change that, and who do you need to step up in her absence?
Yeah, I thought, even going back and watching the first Duke game and the energy that she brought, she also ran into every screen that they set. So, but there's a fearlessness about her, and she's just someone that everyone wants to root for because she loves basketball and she loves to compete. And so I don't know that anything changes from an emotional leadership perspective. I think her team is going to rally around her. But you saw probably Ella got her minutes last night, when it comes to rotationally, depending on who we're playing and whether we can play size on the perimeter or whether we need to play small. I think, we can go different ways, but, when you look at, Markayla was going to play anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes, and Ella got those minutes yesterday.
Second row.
And Nikki, Doug Bonjour, Associated Press. Some of your players said that first matchup proved to them that they could compete physically with Duke. I was just curious what you might have taken from that matchup, being that it was months ago.
Yeah, I think, we lost a core group of seniors a year ago. And so we were facing a team that, don't get me wrong, I think Alucci was a huge part of Duke's success the previous year, but I think they were a team full of veterans. And we were a team a little bit figuring out who we were going to be, replacing multiple starters. And so, I think for us it was just about knowing we were going to face elite competition, and were we physically and mentally prepared to compete with them. When you look at the beginning of that game, they punched first. It took us about 5 minutes to wake up. But I thought after that, we competed with them at a high level, and I thought we were really connected in that game. I thought as the game went along, I'm not saying our kids didn't believe when we went to Paris that we were going to win, but I think the longer you stay in a game against an elite opponent, you begin to really believe that you should be out there with them. So I do think it said a lot to them about what they were capable of, and have we always played at that level? Probably not. But I think that level is in us.
More questions? Fourth row.
Derek Smith, Baylor Radio. Nikki, Ella Brow's seen her minutes go up, in a conference tournament game and now the NCAA tournament. What have you seen from her and just her ability to step into that role in some big moments? And have you seen bits of improvement in that short time?
Yeah, I think, you're probably never going to be wowed by Ella, but I think she's not afraid to play with pace, and she's not going to do things to beat you, to get you beat. She's someone that, I thought there was a possession maybe that she could have been more aggressive in the second half, but she just pulled it out and said, that's not my role. Let me get it to somebody whose role that is, and I think she's someone that'll take an open shot if it's there, but she, from an IQ perspective, basketball IQ, she's got a really high basketball IQ. She's a really good talker. Sounds like such a simple thing, but she does a good job of getting the four people around her to do the same thing, and sometimes we don't get that when we need it, and I think that's something that a space she thrives in. She's thinking ahead. What am I going to call as a point guard? It doesn't matter if she hasn't played in 3 games. She's going to know what the defensive coverage is when she's going to go in the game. And so she just doesn't miss assignments. She may get beat on a back cut. She may get beat one-on-one. She's not a perfect defender, but from a scheme perspective, she's going to understand what we're doing and probably execute a scheme as well as anybody on our team.
Second row.
Hey, Nikki, Mitch Northam from USA Today. I think if there's one maybe key difference between Duke, back then and Duke now is, no Jaden Donovan, but Riley Nelson's starting instead of her. How do you think her presence, Riley, kind of changes them a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's advantage, disadvantage. I mean, certainly if you go back and watch the film, we didn't guard Jaden. I mean, we were able to play off and help, and maybe blow up some actions and spaces. I also think Jaden impacted them defensively at an elite level. I mean, against us. I mean, she picked up Jana and our point guards and made their life kind of miserable. And so I think because of depth, I'm guessing, they're not trying to extend as often or as much. So I think Riley, I mean, I remember watching her with the Fairfax Stars. She's always had a smooth stroke, really elite in the mid-range. There's always that, she had missed the whole season before. It takes time to get into your rhythm. She made a couple shots against us in that game in transition. But I think the advantage is them offensively for her and their ability. You got to guard all five people all the time. But Jaden Donovan is an elite player, an elite defender, and really hard to keep off the glass, especially when you're playing off of her and she gets a running start. I think one way or the other, there are things about it that make them considerably better. But I think it takes that offensive rebounding and that defensive presence. She was a one-man press, for them when we played them.
Third row.
Chad Vothering, KWTX. Coach, you and Coach Lawson have very similar paths of coaching at the pro level. So what do you kind of make of this coaching matchup tomorrow?
Well, she's a little better player than me, so I'll give her that. No, I mean, I think Kara's, I remember like when I was coaching in Atlanta, she called our WNBA semifinal matchups, when we played Washington, because I have some close friends that are huge Tennessee Vol fans, and when they saw Kara, I got them a picture with her, and so Kara's always had an elite basketball mind, elite player, was really, really good in the analyst role in terms of explaining the game. Obviously turned that into the Celtics and then here at Duke. So, she's someone that understands how to coach great players, be around great players, which explains USA basketball. But, she understands how to work with elite players, and, they're gonna counter stuff. They do a good job of actions, having counters, and play into their strengths. And she controls a lot of what they do. They're good in transition, but they don't have something early in transition. She's going to back them out, and she's going to try to orchestrate, what she wants from them. And that's probably our biggest difference. I think we play a little bit more in flow. But, I think she's a very, very good play caller, and does a good job controlling tempo for her team.
Any other questions? Maybe time for one more. Front row right.
Coach Yu-Ting came in and hit a couple shots last night. Has she lost confidence at all over the last part of the season, even when she didn't see some shots falling?
Oh, I would say there probably times. I don't think Ting's ever thought she wasn't going to make shots. I think at times she relies too much on making shots to give her confidence, as opposed to, doing the little things, get a rebound, be in denial. I thought the part of her game that I was most proud of her last night when she came in was not making shots. She had the matchup we liked, in the floppy action. But, I thought she got up and denied. We created a turnover. It's kind of the intensity factor for her, it's, and we're obviously, it's not hard to see that when she comes in the game, I'm probably going to run something to her, because I think she is an elite scorer. But what is going to keep her on the floor consistently is her ability to, little things like this aren't going to be in a box score. But she misses an assignment on a pin curl cut that she's supposed to go through on, and Bugs takes her and picks up her second foul because she made a mistake on the coverage. And it seems like a small thing, and that's not in the box score. It's only in the box score as a Bugs second foul. But if anyone saw our box score last night, we were pretty good when Bugs was on the floor and not quite as good when she wasn't. And so, it's being locked into the details, what we're defending, why we're defending it. Are we switching? Are we not switching? What ball screen coverage are we in? But I think players that are good at shooting the basketball are always going to lose a little confidence when they don't see the ball go in the basket. But to me, at her age, it's all about stringing good practices together, and I think when she does that, she tends to perform at a high level.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. As a reminder to the media, absolutely. We're now joined by the Duke Blue Devils. We have with us student athletes Ashlyn Jackson and Delaney Thomas. Yet again, just please raise your name. We have a mic for you. Give your name and your affiliation before you ask your question. With that, questions from the room? Hold on one second. I think we need to wait in the back. It's the first time this year we've had some issues with the mic, so. We ready to go? We good now? Yes. Yeah. Front row, right here.
For either of you, Doug Bonjour, Associated Press. Kind of a just broad general question, but obviously this team has taken quite a turn for the better, since a few months ago. Just what in general do you think sparked you guys? Is there something specific you can point to?
Delaney, why don't you go first?
I think we obviously had a rough start to the season, but I think it just took us being sick of kind of losing and struggling as a team and wanting to play better for each other and with one another. We were kind of disconnected in that, so I think that was just a commitment from the inside and coaching staff kind of make that turn.
Yeah, pretty much the same answer. No one likes to lose, and obviously the start of the season was pretty rough for us, but we knew that it wouldn't last the whole season unless we did something about it, and that just went on every single day. Like we didn't want that same feeling, so we had to get outside ourselves and just work that much harder because we knew it wasn't going to be given to us. So yeah, that's pretty much our mindset.
Kara's message stay consistent through that, or did you see her change?
For sure. She never gave up on us. She never will. She knew that we would see the outside of that storm, but it was up to us to just pull through and change our ways and just buy into what she was saying, and really just our work ethic, really, and being there and playing for one another instead of just playing for ourselves.
We'll go to the front row right. Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch Northam with USA Today. In that first time you guys played Baylor over in Paris, Riley wasn't yet in the starting lineup. She has since kind of risen into that role and helped you guys have that winning streak and accomplish all you've accomplished this season. What has she brought to the floor in terms of offense, defense? How has she made you guys better?
Ashlyn, why don't you go first, and then Delaney?
First off, look at her build, look at her size. She's a bigger guard. So offensively and defensively, that's a good thing to have on your team for sure. And just her mentality to be able to attack the game and accept the challenge. She's shown up for us in big games and made big time plays for us. So I feel like overall, her mindset and her ability to, come with it every single game has really, really helped us and also helped herself. Riley is a competitor, a true competitor. So just being able to do that for us night in and night out has been a blessing for us for sure.
Yeah, I think Riley's very versatile, and that helps us for sure. But I think also her tenacity and ability to bounce back. She has a rough game, she's able to bounce back the next one. She has a tough practice, she's able to bounce back. So I think that's been big for our team and a steady and consistent presence.
Third row.
She scored 9 points in that first meeting against Baylor, but you went 1 for 9 from 3. Was there anything specific they were doing defensively to kind of shut you down, or was it just kind of an off day?
I just feel like that's just how the game goes sometimes. You shoot the ball well, you shoot the ball crazy. But yeah, I just really think that's what it was. Obviously, that wasn't our best version of basketball. In November, it's nobody's best version of basketball, really. So just, yeah, my mindset's not really on that right now. It's just focusing on what I can do to help impact my team.
Just a reminder, give your name and media affiliation before asking a question. Go ahead.
Chris Edwards, Duke Radio. Delaney, can you just speak to your mindset and the way that you go about trying to impact the game in a variety of ways to help your team win?
Yeah, I think I just try to do the things that nobody wants to do. The rebounding, the dirty plays, charges, whatever it takes. I really just want to be there for my team, and whatever that game presents, I'm just willing to do for my team.
Any other questions in the room? Second row left.
Ryan Hamner at the Duke Chronicle. Does it feel like you guys are playing the same team again in Baylor, or has it been so long that it's just fresh start for you guys, a new slate?
Delaney, go first.
I think the tournament in March Madness, it brings a different type of intensity and competitive spirit. I think it's going to be a different game regardless. Both of us are different teams, and kind of just embracing that. It's tournament time. So the pressure and excitement of that will all bring new challenges, I think.
Yeah, same for me. I think the same thing. You know, like nobody is the same from whenever they first started playing in November. They're better than they were. We're better than we were. So, yeah, I just think the pressure itself of being in the tournament and being able to play for something and move on to the next weekend, that's what makes, like, it also joyful and so competitive as well. It just adds another layer of that. But, yeah, that's a great team. But we're better. Well, we're not better, but I'm saying we're a better team than November.
Chris Edwards, Duke Radio. Ashland, tomorrow's going to be your last game in Cameron. Can you just speak to what it's meant to you to wear the Duke uniform and play 4 years in this building?
Oh, my goodness. I've been so emotional this year just because of that, you know, and just being able to play with someone like her. But honestly, it came so quick, you know. Freshman year, I was just trying to keep up with the pace. Now I'm here, you know, so, yeah. It's very bittersweet to do it in front of our home crowd and to do it also with best teammates in the world. Hopefully I don't get so emotional tomorrow about it, but yeah, it's just been a great ride and a great journey, and there's no other team and no other place I'd rather be to do it.
Any other questions? Mitch?
Mitch Northam with USA Today. Ashley, I was just kind of wondering, as somebody who is probably going to get drafted in a few weeks, if you've paid attention at all to what's going on with the CBA, with the WNBA, and if you had any thoughts on that.
We're moving in the right direction. And I say that because we are. If you look at the numbers from previous to now, and just being able to go into something that's steady, you know, getting better, and our future is brightening more and more every single day. It's a good thing, and I'm very, very excited about it moving forward.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you both for your time.
Thank
you.
you.
Good luck tomorrow. Coach, how are you? Good to see you again. I'm doing great. We're now joined by the head coach of the Duke Blue Devils, Carol Lawson. Again, we'll have an opening statement and then questions. Coach, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, I guess we're just happy to still be playing, and obviously we have a tough opponent, familiar opponent, but not from the first game of the year, I guess, so it's not too familiar. I'm sure we're both a lot different now, and obviously experienced team. I mean, that jumped out to me about them when we played them, just the experience, the amount of seniors that they have, and the amount of big games that they've played in. So we'll have to be ready to play one of our best games on both ends, to be able to be in the game with a chance to win it.
Third row, Chris.
Chris Edwards, Duke Radio. Coach, yesterday, Mayer, 7th all-time in career assist in ACC history. I think she passed Miles and Amore yesterday. As somebody who played the position, can you just speak to what that means to have one of your players 7th all-time now in ACC in career assist?
It's really one of the more underrated careers in ACC history when you think about it. You look at the other names on the list, and you look at the accolades and the publicity of those players, and you look at it with Mayer, and Mayer's kind of height pales in comparison to the other names on that list. She's had an incredible career in our league. What'd you say, 7th all time? I mean, it's just, I think, speaks to her consistency, her playmaking ability. I talk about all the time. She's such a winner. She's got 3 conference championships, an ACC tournament MVP, Sweet 16 and Elite 8. I mean, it's hard to find a player with the consistency that she's shown. Started 4 years in the league. Just a great, great player.
More questions from the room? Front row left.
Hi, Kara. Doug Bonjour, Associated Press. You mentioned the first matchup, of course, being, months ago. Just how much have you taken from that versus how much have you taken from that in terms of game planning and whatnot?
I'll take some from it for sure. Even though we're both, different, and I can speak to our differences probably more than theirs. But I'm going to assume they're a lot different too. You can still take some things from the game, but then you also have to look at more recent games and see how they're playing, what they're attacking, what they're trying to exploit. And, we have different personnel now than we did in that game. I think that's probably one of the biggest changes for us is, we have different players playing different roles than the first game of the year.
So I'd asked your players just about the team's kind of obviously growth from when you guys were unranked.
Mm-hmm.
Just they said you stayed, your message stayed the same. Do you remember that as such, or was that kind of by design, or like how did you treat that as it evolved?
Mm-hmm. Do I remember the way they tell it the same? Is that what you're asking?
Just from your standpoint, like how you your message to the team, did it?
When we were struggling?
Yes.
Yeah. I like, well, I don't say I like to think. I think I stay pretty consistent with my messaging throughout, whether we're playing well or we're not playing well, in terms of the things that we need to do to be successful, because those things don't change. Like the things you need to do to be successful, they don't change. It's really your commitment to doing them and then your ability to do them that changes. So if we're having high levels of success, the things that we need to do, we're doing. And if we're falling short, it's probably because we're not doing some of the things we're supposed to be doing. So trying to remind them in moments where we're not adhering to what we're supposed to be doing, hey, we got to do these things. And then in a lot of cases, it's also not just pointing them out, it's also helping develop them to be better in those areas, right? Like it's super easy to point out what people don't do well. That actually doesn't take a lot of skill. People think it does. To say like, hey, this person stinks at this. This player stinks at that. This coach stinks at this. This team stinks at that. It's actually really easy to see that. It's really easy to see what we're not good at. Doesn't take skill to point it out. What takes skill is to fix it, right? It's the same thing with people. I can point out the flaws of everybody that I interact with. It's pretty easy, don't you think? When you you meet somebody and you're like, man, they're not very good at this. It's easy, isn't it? You drive to work. You can tell who the bad drivers are, right away. You don't even have to see their face. You're just like, oh, man, this car is a struggle. So I think you can see that stuff very early. You can recognize that. But my job as a coach isn't to point it out. My job as a coach is to point it out and help them fix it. Not fix it for them, help them fix it. So in that moment, that's what it was. It was assessing where we needed to develop, and then telling them, hey, here's where we need to be better, and then working with them to get better in those areas instead of just ranting and raving about what we stink at. That's not coaching. That's commentating. I did that 16 years.
More questions? Second row.
Ryan Hamner at the Duke Chronicle. This is Riley's first tournament experience. Talk about what she's had to do to have a short memory from the Charleston game and how you're helping her fix it, as you said.
Yeah, she was bad yesterday. Similar, we just talked about the areas that she needed to play better and remind her what we need from her. What do we need from her? Consistency. We need great aggressiveness. We need her to impact the game, scoring, rebounding, defending, all the things that she's done all year long for us. So that's going to happen, right? You're going to have players play bad games every game. It doesn't surprise me as a coach that every player on my team doesn't play great when the game starts. Some of them are going to struggle with some things. Some of them work through it within game and they can get it, and then sometimes it stretches longer. But we need her to play well. She knows that, and she's been really consistent all year. So I'm not freaking out about it. I think she's going to play well tomorrow for us. She just didn't play well yesterday. Got into a little foul trouble too. I think that contributed.
Mitch.
Mitch Northam with USA Today. Kara, it's been a busy month for you. ACC tournament, and then FIBA in Puerto Rico, and then now NCAA's here. I was just kind of wondering how you kind of found it to sort of switch gears on the focus, if it was easy or difficult, or if it was all just basketball, and I'm sure you really enjoyed it.
I think it wasn't difficult in Puerto Rico because our team was off. And so, I don't know how every school does it. We typically give our team after the conference tournament, because there's 2 weeks in between the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament. We typically give our team that first week off. Maybe not 7 days, but a big chunk of time. And so our players also had the spring break, academic spring break during that time. So they got to get away. And that's true of players and staff. Everybody kind of gets that time off. So I just worked during my time off, which is pretty typical for me anyway. If I hadn't gone there, I'd be doing something, working. So it was great. It was great to just be around the players again, and it was great to have some experience with them, coaching them in a game, because the last camp we had was just practices. And I hadn't been with them in game action, and I hadn't been with any of them. I'd been with a lot of them in game action, but in a different role, as an assistant coach or a 3-on-3 coach. So it was nice to have some reps at that. And then, I came back, obviously, to not miss any preparation for Duke. And so then I just watched the games. I just made my schedule each day so that I was free during the times that they played. And so, yeah, it was good.
Third row.
Jaden Watson-Fisher, News and Observer. Kara, you kind of talked about T's role, but when you look at her and Ash just as people, what impact have they had on this program the last several years?
the most impact of any class that I've had here, you know, and this is my 6th year. So they're in first place for sure. Overall impact, not just on the court, off the court, how solid and consistent they are as people, how committed they are to the team, and how much they love this program. I mean, even, you know, sometimes you bring recruits on campus and the seniors aren't going to play with them. And I think what really shows you a lot about a program is like how much the seniors interact with recruits, because they don't have skin in the game in the sense, like they're not going to play with them. So like they don't need them per se. Whereas like when you're an underclassman, like you want as many top recruits as possible, because that's going to help make your team that you play in a better team. And you would think that they were sophomores when players come on campus, of how like bought in they are and how invested they are in everybody's success in our program. You know, and they gave me, this is the first time this ever happened. You know, they gave me a gift on their senior night. That's never happened to me before. Usually, you know, like on the senior night, you give the players the gifts. And for the first time ever in my career, the seniors on senior night gave me a gift. You know, it's like, I think that speaks to the relationship for sure, but I think it speaks more to the type of people that they are. Yeah.
Any other questions? We've got time for one more, second row, and then we'll be done.
Coach Zach Smith, Waco Trib, you mentioned some of the personnel differences from that first game. What other differences do you feel in your team from that first meeting with Baylor in Paris? And are you more confident going into this one because of the way you ended the season?
I think we are more connected just by virtue of the time spent, you know, together and playing. It's what the season does for you, if you use the season right, is the reps that you get in good games and bad games and wins and in losses kind of fortify the bond that you have. So I definitely think we're more fortified than we were to start the year. You know, obviously we have some young players that play. You know, we start 2 sophomores. We bring a freshman off the bench. And so I think their growth and their maturation, I think they're different players than they were to start. You know, our freshman Ariana is a different player than she was to start the year. Riley's a sophomore, but she hadn't played in that year, you know, because she redshirted. And so, you know, thinking back to her first game, I mean, she was nervous out of her mind, you know, just to play a game, because she hadn't played one in so long. And now she's played in a ton of them. So she's got a little more confidence to her. So I think it's just the maturation of our young players, I think, is a little bit different. And then our connectivity as a team. You know, confidence, you know, I think we always have a good mix of confidence and of respect. And I think it's important to have that balance when you go into a matchup. I do think you have to be confident in who you are and what you can do. But I think you have to have a healthy respect for who the opponent is and what they can do. And so we talk about that a lot. We try to stay firmly rooted in both of those as we approach a matchup. I think any team approaching a matchup should believe they can win. We believe that. And they should too. I'm sure they do. They already beat us, so I'm sure they believe they can win, right? Then you have to have that respect that, like, hey, if we don't do these things, we will lose. You know, they're certainly good enough to beat us. They've already proven that. And so we have to play a really good game to be in the game tomorrow. And so that's our goal. You know, our goal is to play as well as we can and then see where that takes us.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Good
Thank
luck
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.